Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the South-afrifur podcast. You're listening to myself, Ivik Wolf, and with us tonight we have Arrkay. It was Arrkay Mark, right?
Yeah, you can just call me Arrkay.
Okay,
It's fine.
From all the way from, is it Ontario? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Toronto.
coming from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I am the creator and sole proprietor of Culturally Effed, the YouTube show.
hmm Which
Your
has
long
obviously,
time, yeah, your
yeah,
longtime viewers should recognize me. I've been on the show a couple times.
yeah. But for those of you who are just joining, I say you. What am I talking about? Okay, so you've obviously been getting quite a bit of a viewership recently, and obviously, sorry, hold on, and my co-host Scratch. Before I
Gonna
forget
say
about you
like
completely.
fucking
Who?
just part of the furniture here. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
You could do the tech yourself, right? I can set this one out. I have
yeah. Play Binding of Isaac.
I have a slow cooker that needs tending, so screw you. Chicken tikka masala for anyone interested.
Here, I've got to get my slow cooker going too.
Oh, you're gonna make the same food?
No, something else. Me and my partner have been planning. Some pork with butternut squash soup stock. It's gonna be good.
That's just nice. Okay,
Right.
back to the
So,
topic
I
at
mean,
hand.
back to the topic at hand. Beyond food, if anybody's hungry, maybe
man.
just put like this on the speakers and like pump the speakers up. Go to your kitchen, make something to eat. I'm gonna have 2-minute noodles after this entire thing's done.
Ditto.
Yeah. I thought you were making chicken
The
tikka.
rest of this podcast is just going to be loud chewing noises.
Yeah. Nom nom nom.
Yeah, no, that's for the week though. Like I'm doing the whole
Okay.
meal prep thing. Like prepare once, eat for the entire week.
All right. So, with your website, YouTube channel, and everything like that, I mean, you've been able to, obviously, like in the past couple of conversations that we've had, you've been able to get a government grant for the research that you'd be doing as a channel, and you've recently, I say recently, but you're hitting on about 5,000 viewers by now. Like, how does that all sort of begin to coalesce for you? Like, is this a shocking sort of movement, or is it something that you kind of expected by now?
No, it's
Would you
all
have
it's
wanted
all
to go
carefully
faster?
orchestrated.
Carefully orchestrated.
All
Okay.
carefully orchestrated, absolutely. So for the grant we got, it was through the city for small businesses. So we had to register as a company in the province of Ontario, and it's 75% owned by me and 25% owned by Underbite Dragon. And that let us upgrade all of our equipment, which we may have jumped the gun on a little because we didn't really know how most of it worked until recently, when we have a new helper coming in, a new tech guy named Ego, who worked in TV broadcasting, and he's helping us with our lighting and our sound, and all this very nice new equipment is actually getting good, like being put to good use. So that's why quality is going to be starting to improve as well. Just with like video and audio quality for our show. We also got a domain name and a t-shirt store open now. So if you go to culturallyeft.com, if you want to link that in the show notes. Right now it's just a link to like a t-shirt store that we set up. It's mostly for people in the US. The shirts are a little, and I'm going to admit, a little pricey even for me, but that's just the price set point I had to put it to in order to make any profits.
Okay.
And yeah, like shipping anywhere outside of the US is a bit expensive. So I'm working on getting like some locally printed shirts instead to just ship out personally for people who want to get a shirt or help support Culturally Effed, but can't afford the US exchange rate, which is totally fair and I totally sympathize with. So that's the next piece of merchandise. I just ordered a box of the shirts off the website and they just came in like yesterday and they're really, really gorgeous. They look just like their pictures. They still have that fresh printer smell. And I set 2 aside to send all the way to South Africa just for you guys.
Whee! Thank you.
It's our
We're
pleasure.
definitely going to be we're definitely going to be wearing those at like the next couple of fur meets that we'll be at. We may even
Yeah.
like
Tell
if you
your
don't
rich
come
friends to
down
buy them.
if you don't come down to the convention yourself, I might actually just take that along with me and wear it randomly.
Yeah, they're pretty nice shirts, that's for sure.
Huh.
I'm pretty proud of them. Fluff Punk was very much a collaboration between Underbite and I. Like we like the idea of like there's all these fandoms and sub fandoms of Doom Punk and Diesel Punk and Steampunk and Elf Punk, and so what do furries get? Furries are Fluff Punk
Sweet.
because we say so. The other one, which is the more expensive print because of how it's made and why it's like a full print on the entire T-shirt, is by J. It's a old magazine cover from 1905, so it's in the public domain, which is why we're allowed to use it. By an artist named J.C. Leyendecker. He was a queer artist back in the 1920s. Was his like the peak of his career, which were also not a bad time to be gay in New York. And it's this really gorgeous full print T-shirt of this woman wearing what's essentially a fursuit, and this guy holding her like dragon paw. It's a really nice, gorgeous shirt.
Why does this
All
guy's
right.
art look so familiar?
You've probably seen him in like a lot of calendars and stuff. He did a lot of like advertisements and magazine covers.
Was that
some
Landecker?
Leyendecker.
Yeah, Land. Yeah, and he inspired other artists. So yeah, that the sort of super realism style of white people got pretty.
Oh, I
pretty
see the
popular
one.
from them.
That's awesome.
All right, this guy. Oh, I like him.
Yeah, so
like him already.
culturallyf.com, that's new. We also have the newsletter, which you can most easily sign up to through the website as well. There's a link near the top of the website to sign up to our newsletter.
Mhm.
And that's something we're trying to start up monthly, just to post links to all our videos, tell people what's coming next in Culturally Effed, as well as post whatever fan art and interesting YouTube links. And paired with that, I'm also trying to post regularly to dogpatch.press, getting some regular blogs up there as well.
Okay. Huh.
And hopefully some
Yeah, busy.
links to some research and stuff. Any of the research that you guys are doing or articles that you find interesting.
Sure. I can pull some of those up.
No, like with like in the newsletter. I'm assuming those will come in there.
Yeah. So like, if I know for sure what we're filming, then I'll list that and like schedule the next month sort of thing.
Sweet.
And we got
Okay.
yeah.
So, then I'm looking at your videos now recently, and like, interestingly enough, if you look, toys for grown-ups, furry figure statues, and collectibles. Like, what exactly sort of made you think about doing something like that? What was your sort of mindset behind that kind of thought and that that pattern?
So I don't really know anything about toy like figures or like collectible statues or anything. I let our guest writer Kaneda take that lead because he likes that as a hobby. He just got a bunch of photography, like he got a new photography kit he wanted to test out. And he wrote one of our previous episodes. I think it was the one on anime. I could be wrong. Anyway, so I trusted him in that, like, you did this pretty successful video for us before. So I just sort of trusted him to just give us the script. I cleaned it up a bit. And that's why we did an episode on collectible figures and toys. It's something I didn't really consider, but it certainly fits culturally effed as being like furry targeted, but not furry intentionally targeted sort of like manufacturing industry.
Okay.
That's kind of that's pretty neat and really furry. And if I ever get if I ever see some of these figures in a store, I might actually go pick some up now because I think it's pretty neat and they got some really cool figures and stuff. Yeah, I wish I could speak more to it, but all I really know is just from the script our guest writer sent us. And yeah, one thing I've noticed is a lot of our a lot of our top, most popular videos were all written with guest writers. So I guess it just goes to show, maybe my writing isn't the best, but it's better when it's collaborated on.
Huh.
No,
Okay.
yeah, no, collab stuff always has some good benefits sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, like regarding growth and things like that. Obviously, I mean, like we're looking at a lot of these, or at least I'm looking at a lot of these pictures that you've got up, and all of this art with Rusty and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that. Like, I mean, how do you? I guess walk us through what a day of preparation goes to.
Okay, so usually we get, if we have a script ready and we're shooting an episode, we try and build up as many as we can to try and shoot 2 or 3 episodes in a day.
Mhm.
So I have a studio set up now from our funding. It's in just what used to be my storage room, and I just sort of cleaned that up a bit and put up a nice shelf and some artwork and stuff. And that's the studio you see now. It's actually a very tiny little storage room, and behind the camera is all like a bunch of paint buckets and tools and stuff. And so what we would have to do is, assuming the script is already written and ready to film, I'd rehearse that a couple of times. I'd copy the text into my teleprompter app. Underbite, and now more recently Ego, would be setting up the tripods and the lighting for the camera and the teleprompter, getting the audio board ready. And once that's all done, we set up a shot. We might have to change that a little bit now, where our Ego wants us to like divvy up the scripts so that like all of the thirds are shot separately. Whereas I prefer a much lazier method of shooting the whole script chronologically. This just makes editing easier, really.
All right.
Yeah, so then we film. It takes about maybe 40 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on how fast we tear through it, how like prepared I am with the script. Lots of bloopers and stuff. If we're shooting with Rusty for like an effed update, I usually have to wait till the week after a video is released. So we can't really stockpile Rusty videos. We kind of, because we want to do comment responses, we do that every other week, basically in the same week it's released. And for Rusty, I have a large collection of old Halloween costumes and all sorts of props in my basement. So my 2017 resolution is to use as many of them with Rusty as possible. So usually we'll decide like what gimmick or costume or prop that Rusty will be playing with for that video, and try and keep it relevant to like the last week's video that we'll be discussing and responding to comments. So with adult toys, the latest episode, Epic Battle with Rusty, we have Rusty playing with some toys. Yeah, those little like Dungeons and Dragons figures he has. Actually, my roommate is holding on to those for a friend who has like 6 boxes of just all these little toys. Yeah, my roommate's holding on to them for a friend who's moving and can't really like store them properly. So I just borrowed them for the shoot. And they just happened to be a bunch of demons and a bunch of blue dragons. And then I just like everything with Rusty is improvised. So I just sort of spouted out sort of some Trump commentary. It's not really meant to be accurate. It's just or it's not supposed to say anything about Muslims or the ban. It's just supposed to be fun and stupid and somewhat relevant. And so yeah, we mic Rusty, set that up, and then sometimes we shoot between 10 minutes, like usually about 10 minutes, and then I just edit it all down. We have a few checkboxes to hit, like comment responses. If there's any news, sign up to the newsletter, check out the website, check out the Patreon. So we have we have a formula we kind of have to stick to make sure that we hit all those marks every episode. And that's what we've done with the EFT updates, and we want to try and get another host. Underbite is working on his fursuit. Once that's done, he's going to start coming in now, and it'll be more of like a buddy, like the buddy comedy sort of, like here's the straight man and here's the comic relief, bouncing jokes off him.
Oh,
I
hear straight. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm so gay, I don't even think straight.
Sorry. I'm gonna stop doing that kind of
It's
It's all right.
sound.
And yeah, so yeah, that's more or less the process. And then after that, it just goes to editing, which is usually the next day.
Mhm.
And then it's released more or less as soon as it's done. I try and get it uploaded, which if you're subscribed to my Patreon page, you'll sometimes see that it is this just released at the same time that it's released publicly, because sometimes editing just takes me right up to when I want to release. I try to release every Thursday around 2 p.m. my time. I just find it's a good time for people who are looking to get distracted at work.
Okay.
It's
Nothing better than
the
getting
mid to late
distracted.
afternoon, on a weekday that's toward the end of the week.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's when everyone just sort of shuts down mentally anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So trying
Normally
to get it
that's
out
me
by
on
then.
Fridays, but
And if it's really, really delayed, it won't be out till like Friday afternoon, sort of thing. Only had a couple episodes that have done that, but yeah.
all right. Um, I mean, obviously you have, a lot of people that you are. I don't know. I'm going to say a lot, but you have a lot of people who are working with you right now. How does coordinating between like so many people actually work? Is it always feasible for you guys to always get together at exactly the same time, or is it just because you guys put down some sort of timeline? You're like, okay, today we all need to be here for X, Y, Z.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, I'm not sure if all of you have jobs or, aside from, just this, but
Underbite has a guaranteed day a week where he's obligated to come in and work for Culturally Effed, whether it's just doing a thumbnail or if it's like doing some merchandise art or whatever else that needs to get done graphically is usually his job. We can film just him and me. Like it can be a two-man operation, and that's what it has been up until Ego joined us. And Ego has just sort of been coming in and helping us with the lighting and stuff, as I was said. So he works freelance, and his schedule is actually pretty flexible. So between the three of us, that's like the production team. I also have my friend Neo. Sometimes comes in as like a general helper for Win Rusty. He's also really hilarious, so he's really good to have on hand when we're working with Rusty, because he really has really great jokes that just come out of nowhere. That's why I like to have him around. But he actually has like a full-time job, and he's harder to get and schedule and coordinate around. And my storage room isn't that big, so once you get more than 3 people, it gets really crowded really fast. Especially if you have a big bulky fursuit that's plugged in. Like we have a wired lav mic, and like once everyone is plugged in and we're recording, it's a bit tedious to unplug, and if someone needs to go use the bathroom or something. So we have an extra person, so yeah.
Okay. Plugging people in. It's but that's obviously for the mic and everything like that, yeah?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
whoever's operating the camera usually has headphones on for the from the mixing board. And we're working on that right now. It's still like my biggest hurdle. Like even Ego has with his television broadcast experience, audio isn't really his strongest point. So we're still trying to nail down getting the cleanest possible audio and like standardizing it for every episode.
Okay. Sure. If for anybody else who is actually considering doing this, obviously, like, I mean, for people who can't necessarily get funding, for instance, how would you suggest they move from this? Like, where would
Like-
they do? Yeah.
Like if they wanted to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Well, most people have a camera phone, and like you can get pretty simple editing software if you don't have that experience. So watch lots of tutorials. I know through my public library, I can get access to lynda.com, which is a video tutorial website. So I've been using that for free just to clean up my editing, my video editing, and now I'm looking into like audio for video. I'm taking lots of those tutorials. So make sure like you can actually do this project beginning to end before you start. As for like funding, like if you want to expand, if you have a few followers and you want to try and turn this into like a business of some kind, look into like municipal small business funding, and then you might have to write a business plan or a marketing plan, and that's its own thing. Like you might need help with that from someone. If you get very popular, you can try joining a YouTube network like Channel Frederator, and they usually have a small amount of funding available for their creators. They act sort of like a record label acts for musicians, and that they sort of put funding up front, and in exchange they take a cut of your profits. So that's another route. In the meantime, until you get there, use whatever you have at your disposal. If that's an iPhone with a movie maker on your computer, or like Culturally F borrowed our camera for our first year and a half. And it wasn't until we got funding that we went out and just bought our own camera, which is right here in front of me. And we just got the same model that we were borrowing from my friend because we were comfortable with it, and it was within our price range. And it's a pretty nice DSLR. It's a Canon Rebel EOS T5i. It's the same same model Bandit uses for his YouTube show Raccoon's Den, The Raccoon's Den.
All right.
So that's where you get to for funding. Like really, it's better just to start it out as a hobby, and just don't make your goal to make money off it right away. Like I spent a year on Culturally F just doing it on weekends just for fun, and it wasn't until I was laid off and I was like, oh crap, I need to have money come from somewhere, that I really started to aggressively monetize and look for funding and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're gonna start from scratch, don't think you're gonna start making money. I'm still not making very much money, and that's even through Patreon and T-shirts and stuff. We're still relatively a small channel by comparison to some other furry YouTubers. We're still only at about 4,500, which is great.
Yeah.
We were at 500 last January. So that's almost that's like nine times the number of subscribers in a year, which is pretty decent. I would have liked a nice around 10, but we're almost there. It'll inch there over the next few weeks. I'm hoping to get at least 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And then once I get that, I can use Toronto Google YouTube Studio for free. Google has a studio in Toronto, and if your YouTube channel has more than 10,000 subscribers, you're allowed to use it for a day a month. And just think of the nonsense Rusty could get into with a full green screen or a full white room. We could have a lot of fun in that space, right? So that'd be freaking great.
That would be really awesome.
And we're already halfway there. Yeah.
Yeah. At least you're not living on a prayer. Sorry, I had to.
God damn it.
All right. Okay. So I mean, with fame comes the, I guess, ever-present, people who don't, or Spectre?
No, sorry. Never mind.
The people who don't necessarily like, what you do, just because of, being who they are, for instance. Have you actually encountered any of that recently, or is that a prevalent thing?
Negative comments?
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been kind of there. It's not because my channel it's still kind of small. We haven't been on the trending tab like some other very popular YouTubers. It's been at a minimum. So the vast majority of the comments are actually pretty respectful. They're almost all furries. You can tell by their icons or names. So right now the comment section is actually a very nice place to be. It's all very supportive. Got people connecting even. There's lots of really cool comments. And every now and again there's someone just goes what's this garbage doing on my feed? Yiffin' hell, dog fuckers.
Well, I guess that's the reason why they do that.
Yeah, and so, the more popular we get, the more of those comments we're going to get. Yeah. And that's just the nature of the beast. If I ever end up on the trending tab, I'll probably have to turn off comments too. I don't know if you guys know what I'm referring to?
The trending tab.
Yeah, so there was a furry YouTuber, Reese Keto. Is that the one? And she ended up on the. No, it is not. Who am I thinking of? Anyway, she ended up on the YouTube trending tab and was flooded with hate, like instantly. And she did a couple videos of it. Crap, her name is escaping me. I know I'll see it like right away as soon as I look on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Oh crap. No. Sorry.
The what now?
I lost track a little bit. Rainy Chaos. That's who it was.
Huh?
Rainy Chaos ended up on the YouTube trending page. Rainy is a 16-year-old fursuiter from England. And YouTube told her like a week in advance, hey, we like your channel and we're going to put you on the trending tab. So, yeah, she was like, great, I'll brace myself. And she did. And she took it really gracefully, very maturely for someone of her age. Yeah, all her channel is just like the typical fursuit antics and like vlog discussion. So, yeah, if we ever end up on the trending tab, that's absolutely what we're going to expect is a flood of fags, really. Just a lot of hate speech. And that's just the nature of the beast. Right now, I can safely assume that the 4,500 people who are subscribed to me are almost all furries, right? So, but once you're on, like, if you get the public spotlight, then every angry 12-year-old on YouTube is going to see your channel and want to tell you what they think about it.
Because everyone's entitled to their opinion.
So, in short, please subscribe to my channel so that I can, get on that trending tab. That would be awesome.
All right, cool.
Yeah, sure. So, now obviously with something like our group, for instance, if you look at furry.fm, oh goodness. If you look at furry.fm, for instance, they have they've sort of started branching out from just being a German channel to obviously incorporating us and sort of trying to bring in a little bit more English content. Are you possibly looking into moving towards different content, different people, things like that?
Well, we're going to introduce Underbite as a more regular guest once his fursuit is done. He wants to do a whole series on the history of fursuiting, which we are getting ready for and writing the scripts for. And we won't be announcing that like really publicly until we have like at least 3 of those scripts done and like ready to film. And as for like reaching out otherwise internationally, someone commented or like sent us a message to see if they wanted if they could like translate our videos into German, which I'm all about. Otherwise, it's just YouTube's like weird, like fake translation. That could
size in Spanish.
Yeah. So, it would be really neat to have the channel translated into several languages. That would make it a lot more open, especially since I know there are a disproportionate amount of furries in Germany, as well as in Brazil and lots of other non-English speaking countries that I think would really like my videos. As for other creators, I started a Slack group. Slack is it's a chat program meant for coordinating groups. So I started a Slack group called Furry YouTubers, and I've invited a bunch of YouTubers into that in hopes that it will have a lot of cross-pollination and we'll all appear on each other's channels over the next year, hopefully. So yeah, we are expanding outwards to other YouTubers, and we're trying to get the scene to interact with each other instead of just limiting people to the furries that live in their immediate area.
Yeah,
like I'm pretty sure Majira, like every fursuiter who lives within a 5-mile radius of Majira Strawberry probably started their own YouTube channel because chances are Majira brought them onto his show. And he does a really great job of like collaborating at conventions too. So like lots of people end up on Majira's channel. So I'm trying to get that for everyone, for Abergwine and Chimichanga and a bunch of other sort of smaller channels. I want to elevate Spots, who's big on Vine. I'm trying to get him more on YouTube. The
Rip
Raccoon's
Vine.
Den, which is like, yeah,
Rip Vine.
Rip Vine.
yeah.
Shame.
Anyway,
But that's cool. I mean, it's a good way to sort of signal boost channels that you feel deserve some more attention or some more love from the community.
yeah, absolutely. And the end game is really just to get everyone collaborating and working on projects together.
That's really cool.
It's hard. That's harder to coordinate than getting my film crew in for the day.
Of course.
Because you gotta work together. Like, okay, what are we gonna talk about? When are we gonna release it? When we both have you have to coordinate with someone on the other side of the world. Sometimes, or at least in the States, on the other side of the border.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, we're talking about growth now. You're talking about like that big project that you guys are going to start working on soon. That all sounds very, very interesting. But I mean, and I guess we've probably already asked this question before, but I mean, to what ends? Where do you aim to be above and beyond, like, 10,000 viewers? What exactly is the final sort of purpose / message?
I just want to make awesome furry content, and if I can do that sustainably, then I guess that's the real goal, is just try and make this a sustainable lifestyle. For me personally, is just make enough money through Patreon and selling t-shirts or whatever else I got to do, just so I can work on this full-time properly and comfortably without having to rely on other funding or anything like that. That's the real goal.
Okay.
It's just make this sustainable, because I know it's doable. There are furries who can make it happen. There are fursuit makers who fursuit make 24/7, and that's their full-time job. And there are furry artists who have I know one personally who has multiple accounts, and that's what they do for their job. They just make furry happen. So I just want to do that with video.
I mean,
that's my own goal, really. And I just want to give, like, from the beginning, Culturally Apt was supposed to be a one-click resource when people ask, why are you a furry? Why are you into this ridiculous fandom? Then you could say, oh, well, I like anime. So I have an episode all about furry anime. That's episode 30. That was guest written by someone. Or I like it for the community. I have a couple episodes on community. I have a whole playlist now, 6 videos long, on just books. So if someone is furry because they really like comic books like me, then they can just send one link, like, hey, here's some videos as to why I'm into this. And the big project is still the most amount of views. So it had about 7 collaborators. There's 17 misconceptions on furries in the furry fandom. And that's before we got the grant even. And that's at 25,000 views.
wow.
So hopefully at least some of those 25,000 people who watched 17 Misconceptions actually learned something new about furries, and hopefully got a little more respect for our wacky group.
Here's hoping. Here's hoping.
Yeah, I did that episode though with all the old equipment and stuff. So I'm tempted to redo some of these older episodes with our nicer microphone and stuff. But I'm not sure how that would fly.
Are you gonna have a 100 up video?
Episode 100?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're inching closer to that, right? We're at episode 43 right now, so episode 50 will come up first. We do in fact have more than 100 videos uploaded onto YouTube, and those videos include the open and closed for music video playlist, as well as other videos. Yeah. So I just checked. We are at 103 videos uploaded to YouTube. So our 100th video was Rusty Gets Fancy. Or no, it would have been Watership Down. One of those. Anyway. So yeah, there's a bunch of videos on here that are promotional, or they link off to some other websites, or there's some exclusives. Yeah, so technically we have 100 videos uploaded, but they're not really proper episodes. The only thing I really consider as an episode are the video essays.
Yeah.
that we produce. Like the effed updates in between with Rusty, that's just
That's just
for comment responses, really.
bonus content.
Yeah, exactly. Because the way YouTube's algorithms work is you kind of need to have weekly content. Otherwise, YouTube will let you slip through the cracks too easily. So yeah, and that's really what Rusty's job is to make sure we have weekly content.
Okay. So again, like with the concept of Rusty, I remember we asked a little bit about him a while back. But I mean, like for people who are new or listening to the show right now who don't necessarily know who or what Rusty is or what Rusty does, so obviously, it's not just filler. There's a lot more to it, right?
Yeah, we're trying to build up into it as well. Like there's his fursuit Tetanus. So Rusty is technically culturally apt's mascot. So in our brains, that means he can have his own fursuit, despite being an animal costume himself. And his fursuit that he made is Tetanus, because what happens when you mess with Rusty is you get tetanus. And there's a nice compilation video I did over the Christmas break. Over December, we took a break and we just released a bunch of like bonus videos, and one of them is just a compilation of all of the instances where Rusty showed off his creepy, ugly ass fursuit. Yeah, so Rusty's bio is that he is from the moon because there are a lot of mythical moon rabbits. And that's how he has the magic ability to change his facial expression. So, and
I love this
he
bio.
decided to make this fursuit. Yeah, he decided to make this fursuit named Tetanus, which in reality is this really old, and it's unfortunate to say, but it was a used fursuit. I don't know, you could just, yeah, whatever imagery you want with that. It was a used fursuit my friend got for free. Someone just gave it to him. And so he was going to recycle the head, because the head form is the hardest thing to make. And then you can just reskin it, basically, and that's what he's going to do with it. So we peeled off the head to get down to the green, like, foam base that this fursuit maker clearly just, like, mass produces to get all their fursuits to look the same. And so left over was this gross, like, pelt. There's a fursuiter's pelt that happens to fit perfectly over Rusty's head. So in the opening shot is Rusty wearing this thing over his own head, and it's really creepy. And so we ran with that, and for Halloween, Rusty cast a spell from the Nomicon and gave Tetanus a soul by accident. And that's where we kind of left it. And we've been meaning to revisit that, but my friend took the tetanus pelts back, and we haven't been able to film with that again. We've been meaning to come back to that, and what I'm getting at with that is with Rusty and the updates is we want to have and start building like
a lore,
week to week, story arc, a lore, and give people the reason to like go back and rewatch all these old ones, right? And that's where the views really start coming, is when someone just discovers the channel and be like, what the hell is going on? And so they go back and watch all these old videos, and like the updates aren't really that worth going back to, because they're as of right now, they're mostly just for comment responses and just to tell people what else is new, like when our store opened, or if I have a new article posted on Dogpatch Press, stuff like that. They're just updates. They're effed updates.
All right.
That almost sounds about as correct as it could be.
Yeah.
They're effed updates. Yeah.
Indeed.
Huh?
That's the joke.
I know, right? Sorry. All right. So, with all the research that you've been doing, has there ever been something that while you were doing research for it, something that you found out that kind of actually, shocked you, put you into a position where you were going like, oh, I really didn't necessarily know that? Like, aside from maybe the what's it, the one about the toys.
Yeah, but I didn't really do the research for that one. Shocking, like, I don't know. I'm always learning something new. It's the beauty of like doing this sort of research-based episodes. As you get to explore cool concepts and historical facts and bits of media here and there.
Mm-hmm.
The Centaur episode was pretty surprising. I learned a lot with that episode, as well as the large Centaur fan base the fandom seems to support.
Mm-hmm.
A big group of Taurs after that episode approached me over Twitter and be like, "We want like 3 more Taur episodes." I'm like, "Great, write them and I'll shoot them." So they're still working away at that, and like I thought I covered as much as I could about centaurs in our Centaur episode, and I guess I was terribly mistaken because they have all these other factoids they're going to include, and like one of them wanted to like reach out to the to some author who wrote about like animal tours. So yeah, the fact that there's so much vigor and somehow more information to include, I guess that was very surprising for me.
Mm-hmm.
No furries, never change.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, in respect to like say with tours, for instance, I mean, do they even or do while you were doing your research when you were talking to these people, like did anybody ever mention that the sort of centaur-like creatures called andalites, if you remember Animorphs?
Oh God, those things are creepy.
They were freaking creepy. But then
No,
again, like the
there may have been like a comment in the comment section about that, but I didn't really get into it.
all right.
The worst are the centaurs from the Fallout universe. Those things are disgusting.
Oh right, yeah. It's just like
Really, really creepy.
just like this deformed blob of a thing
Yeah.
with like tentacles and shit.
Otherwise, more recently, in doing research for fursuiting history, I adapted one of Dog Press articles on pantomime animals. So back in like the Edwardian and Victorian era of stage and like festival performance and sort of lower class theater, you get these pantomime animals in what was called tantalizingly skin rolls, is what they called them, because back then they didn't have synthetic fur; they had to wear actual animal skins. Yeah. So this fake fur wasn't invented until the 20s, and it wasn't really widely commercially used until the 50s. And this is back in like the 1890s to like the 1920s that these were really a thing. And they got some beautiful photographs and stuff of these really, really antique fursuiters. And you get some really fun like reviews and stuff of their performances. As well as a couple like so that stuff was really cool. And Skin Rolls is going to be a great clickbaity title for that episode.
No, totally.
Yeah, and it's going to be all about pantomime theater and commedia dell'arte and like pre-Cirque du Soleil animal parts, where I guess it was just better to have an actor in a costume than it was to actually train an animal. Apparently, in London in the 1890s, there was an actual store front. I can't find the title anywhere, but there was an actual store that specialized in animal costumes for the theater. So it'd be like a modern equivalent of a fursuit store, where you could go in and rent a costume for a performance, or probably like find listings for actors who specialize in animal performance.
That's
really fascinating, really cool. Can't wait to do this episode and the follow-ups on like sport mascots and stuff. So yeah, that's some other surprising research that I've come across more recently.
Sports mascots, or specifically the stuff you just mentioned, skin rolls and stuff. Or is there something around sports mascots that you found interesting, or were you referring to?
I haven't started the draft for that script yet.
Okay.
So most of what I know from the sport mascot history, I learned in a podcast. 99% Invisible did an episode on. I think it was. I could be wrong. One of the podcasts I subscribed to did an episode a while back on the history of the sport mascot, and yeah, it started with like college baseball, and then when it got to a more professional level, like Jim Henson was hired to like design the first official like true mascot. And yeah, it's pretty fun history.
Nice.
as well. But I can't say I've really done a lot of. Can't say I've done too much research on that on my own yet.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, sports mascot.
Hmm.
Sports mascots I find really interesting. Um, like where does the remember, I know nothing about this because I'm not necessarily based in North America, but like the idea of Philly Fanatic, like what the hell is it? Like where does it come from?
Yeah, I think
Who is it?
that was. I think that was just one of Jim Henson's creations. So Jim Henson, as you may or may not know, made the Muppets. He did a lot of the puppetry work for Star Wars. Basically, any really cool puppets you've seen between the 70s through the 90s was all the Jim Henson Company.
Sesame Street.
And he created these. Or I don't know if he personally did it, but someone on his team certainly did. Created these sort of wacky Muppet-like guys that are these, they're just like these weird creatures. They're not actually supposed to be anything like the Fanatic and some of these other weird-looking guys. They're just Muppet Mups. I don't know how to describe them.
Mups. Have you actually seen? Now there's a rugby team called the Suncorp Sunwolves, who had literally taken, those, like, I think they're probably around about $100. Those, they're not fursuit heads so much as they're just like faux
Rubber
wolf
masks.
heads.
Mhm.
What's his name had one?
Yeah, Anpu had one.
Anpu.
Okay.
Anpu had one, yeah.
Yeah.
And like you just buy it in the store and you pay XYZ amount of money for it, and you
Probably like $80.
If
yeah,
even
probably
that
around
much.
about $80. But I mean, here it's about 1,000 rand, so it comes across a little bit more expensive than anybody would ever like for a head, but it has these like creepy ass eyes that like don't necessarily stare at anything and possibly stare at something around about like a half.
Feast your eyes. Feast your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, did you post it? Yeah.
I found it.
So
Link.
the Sunwolves mascot is literally just
It's a store bought for
a guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I could see myself buying that fursuit head and then like fixing it because the eyes are a bit wonky and like it's really scruffy looking. But like, I bet if you give it a bit of love, give it a brush, maybe shave it, or at least just shave the face, and then maybe airbrush in some more of your own pattern and color, like you could looks like a good base to work with. But as it is, it looks kind of really scruffy, in not a good way.
Anpu actually did readjust his. He like spray painted the whole thing like crimson red, which actually looks really cool now. It used to be white to start with.
Yeah, you don't want white fur, especially in rugby.
Yeah.
Well, if it was to get tackled.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mascot. Of course, it's going to get tackled.
Yeah. I think that's just par for the course. Any kind of like contact sport mascot's gonna get tackled at some point. I wonder if Pokel's ever been tackled.
I'm sure Paul's been tackled.
Yeah. Pokel's our alma mater's just a rugby mascot, or is he just like a sports mascot in general? I think he's just rugby.
No, he's but then again, I mean, like the Monty's name literally is Pokel, pretty much from beginning to end. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Pokel's a squirrel.
Yeah, imagine just thinking about the name. Like, why would you call something Pokel? Where does Pokel even come from?
God knows. I mean, we can try and find out. Pretty sure we can do the research for that.
We possibly could. It might be a very interesting research move.
Get the guy,
Okay.
guy in the Pokel mascot suit to come on the podcast.
I'm sure he changes from year to year, much like I think generally like mascots aren't necessarily always played by the same person.
Oh, that poor first
They're
year.
normally like the. Oh, I would tackle it so often.
Oh, the poor first year.
If I knew if I knew it was a first year, that would be the first thing I do.
For sure, that's the first thing like 80% of campus guys would do.
Sorry, what year are you in? First year? Oh, okay. Thump.
Like run him the fuck
But
over. Sorry, go ahead.
look, again, if you're gonna be a mascot for something, and it's in rugby, like you said, like, it's gonna be tackled.
Know what you're getting yourself into,
In
bro.
Yeah. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, one of the schools that we had that I used to ref for was Stellenbosch High School.
Mhm.
They had a kid in what seemed to be a mascot, a mascot like sort of outfit. But the thing is that this kid, I swear to goodness, he may have been 14 or 15, but he was the shortest thing that I'd seen ever. Like he literally, like if you look at sort of like chest high desks, for
Mhm.
instance, add about a foot,
Wow.
and you have this kid in this mascot suit running around, and at one point, I think one of the under 16 or 18 guys tackled him.
Oh
And
no.
this kid isn't like he's not big or anything like that. This guy goes down like a brick wall. I mean, like he gets hit by a brick wall and just goes down very, very hard.
Oh, poor kid.
Um, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, the principal actually made an announcement saying that we're either going to call this off, or you guys stop teasing the mascot. And it wasn't
Shit.
teasing. It was just it's definitely a shame. It's one of the scariest things to ever have happened. Like you don't see somebody coming. Like we know what fursuits are like. I was testing the theory yesterday by sneaking behind absolutely everybody in a fursuit and just seeing what I could do to
To these people.
to these people. No, I wasn't being mean. I was just sort of like walking in behind and then covering eyes kind of thing. That's about the worst I could get or do.
Yeah, it's more playful.
But it's the very, very, very quick motion that the person makes as soon as you do it that kind of makes you feel as though, yeah, doing the right thing, but you're not. Hey.
Bit of a dick move.
Okay. Real dick move.
Okay. Where were we
Yeah.
before that?
We were talking about mascots now. You talked about the. Look, I have utmost respect for somebody like Jim Henson, for instance, but I'm not necessarily sure whether that was his best work.
Well, it had a lasting impact, and I guess it's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, people will support that mascot no matter what because it always has to do with the person in the suit itself.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, obviously, and I know we're sort of like talking about mascots for whatever reason, but one of the more interesting things that I'd actually seen was the Chicago Bulls' mascot.
Mhm.
I think his name's Bully, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously, you have that like whole kiss can thing, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
There was a man who was at a game on his cell phone the entire time, and every single time they put him on kiss cam. And eventually, the mascot came up to them and took the guy's soda, dumped it all over his lap, and ran off with his girlfriend, like in his arms.
That
Because the guy was being a dick.
that guy has some cojones. The mascot in there. That's a question that I want to ask. Like, how emboldened does a fursuit actually make one? Like,
Well, like especially in a sports game where there's all these cheering people and there's such a high energy.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I think they're kind of paid specifically to just be kind of
Take
dicks
the piss.
sometimes, right? Like it's all about their character too.
Mm.
Um,
But like for you
so
guys, on
yeah,
a sort of a
as
personal
for
level.
like regular fursuiters, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not much more because like conventions and other like fursuit parties for friendly parties, like there's usually some rules around like how well fursuiters can be treated. Like, don't sneak up behind them, don't hug them without permission. So the same sort of goes with the fursuiters. Like, don't get into trouble and piss off the hotel, or else we might not have a convention next year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So like, but us for like fursuit walks or whatever else, like dealing with the public. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of cautious, so I probably wouldn't think we'd be able to get away with too much. Anyway, in the chat, I just sent a Mexican football, by which I mean American soccer mascot, who is like really buff. And here's another one.
Like buff suit buff.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a couple other Mexican mascots that are like that sort of hyper realism as well as like hyper masculine.
That's
In
scary.
comparison, here is a Japanese baseball mascot who you perhaps have seen around the internet.
Anime as fuck.
Yeah, it was like super cute and a bit more handsome in a different way. So yeah, there's some other nice mascot research for you.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this, but in that picture of the Brazilian mascot, the guy's face with the kid
Yeah.
is exactly the face that I have right now. Going, what the fuck is that?
But I'm assuming that mask sits like really tight on the face if those eyes are actually like his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that looks like they're his real human eyes, don't they? Like,
Yeah,
I think
they
they
are.
colored it specifically like that, and like those are his real. Yeah. So, and I don't know. Here in Toronto, we see a couple of those fursuiters, especially when I went to What the Fur in Montreal. There, I saw more than usual of these like hybrid fursuits that have the open eye, where you can see the human eye underneath, and they have to like wear makeup to blend it in a little better with their fursuit color, and those reach into the uncanny valley so uncomfortably for me.
Yeah.
Like you can see like a kind of an ugly fursuit, and like you can see what they're going for. It's maybe a little more more toony. Or on the other side, there's the fursuit who tries to be hyper real, and they just look really, really uncanny. And this is some other part of this spectrum that I can't quite identify, where it's this hybrid like makeup fursuit like prosthetic thing going on.
Weirdness going on, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been guilty of that too. I have I did an episode with it on way back. It's one of the earliest episodes. I have a latex monkey mask that kind of looks like from the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, right.
And I made it myself, and the seams are really bad. So it makes it even more apparent how like shoddy this prosthetic is. I mean, I'm proud of it. I made it, and I was for my Halloween costume. I was Ape from Planet of the Apes, and I put a lot of work into it. But it doesn't age very well, so like it gets really dry and it kind of shrinks after a while, so it doesn't really fit my face anymore by the time I wore it for that episode.
Shrunken monkey head.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm perfect. I've been guilty of making like uncanny valley, really creepy costumes of animals before. So I don't know. These professionally made mascots that I posted, I think, are pretty great.
Yeah, no,
by
they
comparison.
definitely are.
Yeah.
It's I find it strange that that's, I mean, the fursuit community, I mean, is sort of feels like a different thing in and of itself, but I find it, imagine
There, I
you're,
posted it in the chat.
thanks. Like, imagine you're starting up a new team and you want a mascot. Like, where do you go? Like, who do you ask for something like that?
Well, here in Toronto, apparently Toronto is a hub of mascot makers. And just around the corner from me is a company called Sugar Mascots. And they make mascots for high schools, for corporations, sports teams. So, like, there are specialty companies. You can Google around for a professional sport mascot. And it's very different from a fursuit because a mascot needs to fit people of different body sizes. Because, like you were saying earlier, mascot one year might not be the same person the next year, but it's going to be the same costume. Whereas a fursuit is tailor-made for one person because it's their unique character, usually.
I stand incredibly corrected then.
And Scratch, they're actually.
Oh, hello. Mark dropped out.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Ah, come back, Mark. Come back.
Sorry,
Hi.
my mouse slipped. I hit the red button. I'm sorry, that's totally my bad.
It's all good.
Oh, there's no problem with the internet connection. That was just my own clumsiness.
Fat fingering the keyboard.
hmm
Yeah,
But
sorry.
I mean, Scratch, it's not just in Canada that, or in fact in other places that there are people who make mascots. We actually have at least two companies that make mascots here.
Mhm.
Mascots.co.za and mascotcostumes.co.za.
Okay.
Mascot ears apparently is the term for the one. Actually made the full body costume for the Spur mascot.
Which I'm assuming is just like the Native American Indian.
It's yeah,
Native
it's
American
literally
dude.
a Native American Indian kid with these come hither eyes.
Not what you want in a restaurant mascot.
No, not really. I'm gonna post a link in the relevant
please do.
places. Just
I searched for mascot makers in my city, and I came up with 5.
Crap.
There's Hogtown
Yep.
Mascots Inc., Sugar Mascot Costumes Inc., Looney Times, Madewell Mascots Inc., and Bam Mascots Custom Mascot Manufacturers. So that's just within my immediate city area.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Bam!
That's
And the dirt is gone.
But
Sorry.
a
yeah,
lot of mascots.
but yeah, it's the reason why I asked that is because it's such a niche thing that I would find it strange that anyone would actually, excuse me, that anyone would actually like have a functioning company based on that. Like, how many people
Yeah.
legitimately need mascot suits made? I mean, like outside the furry fandom, but usually then the money stays inside the fandom.
Mhm.
Apparently many.
Yeah, like fursuits
Yeah.
are not mascot costumes, right? Like a mascot can be like
Yeah.
an inanimate object too, right? Like
Yeah, or human.
throw some eyes on there.
Yeah.
Metro Rail obviously needed to have a mascot of Puss in Boots.
Why?
And I don't know. For 2014, they made one. There's also one for the Secunda Mole. There's the Tswana University Rhino. Haas
Yes,
Das.
It's all schools, like hospitals might even want a mascot. Like there are lots of companies and businesses, organizations that want like some fluffy creature to interact with their fans or kids or something, like, or even if it's just to sell sandwiches on the street corner, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm wondering,
yeah,
like, if there's
some dude in a taco outfit.
Yep. And like that makes me question, to sort of bring it back to furry, like, is there a possible market, or maybe is there someone already doing it where like they just get into their fursuit and they busk on a street corner, like pictures for $1, or like they'll just dance for quarters in my custom made fursuit. Like,
I'm gonna post. I'm gonna post this one in the Skype chat because I think it might actually be not safe for work. Did I actually copy that? I pressed Control C, you bitch. Sorry.
Mascots are huge in Japan, right? Like
Yeah, of course they're big in Japan.
Like,
They're bigger in Japan, aren't
every
they?
district.
everything is bigger in Japan.
Yeah, but like, I could be wrong, but like every municipal district sort of has its own mascot kind of thing going on, isn't it? Like, okay, right. Cool.
Yeah.
For context of what we're giggling at for the viewers, it's a mascot of a condom.
So it's the HIV
Awareness
mascot, oddly enough.
thing. Yeah. Let's quickly Googling something.
I want to find. I'm gonna show you my favorite mascot, like completely. It's the best mascot. It is best mascot. Posting it here and here. This is the best mascot on Earth. You won't be able to fault me on this.
Nice.
Oh,
It's a box of wine. It's not even like a bottle of wine. It's a box of wine.
that's how
5
classy
liters.
we are down here.
Yeah.
Know where
Yeah, I'm
the
all
eye
about.
holes are.
That's great. Yeah. Like they should have put like 500 liters or something and pretend like he's just one big jug of wine.
Mm. But yeah, we're
Definitely.
here in South Africa. We're so into our drinking that we have mascots for our wine.
For no, not just wine, for boxed wine.
Mm.
Yep, sucky vine.
Mm.
It's only in a box because the bag needs to have some sort of like
Structure.
structure to it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't even bother.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can just take it out of the box and like hide it under your jacket when you go to the movies as like a water bladder.
Mm.
It's great.
and
Mhm.
and
Or
if you,
at a con under your suit.
yeah, and if you pass out, if you finish the box, you can inflate it and it becomes a pillow. So
Yes, it does.
So being
True.
homeless is a
I
little
didn't
less,
think of that.
little less worse.
In respect to cringeworthy stares, if you look at this one, like this really just takes the cake.
Is that Elmore, the legally distinct version of Elmo that they're allowed to take out onto the street without getting sued?
This is from Takalani Sesame, so apparently they probably do have some form of
Like licensing, yeah.
licensing and copyright.
Yeah.
But literally, there is an Elmo mascot running around here somewhere, just staring at people extremely creepily.
See, yeah, here's the thing. Like the thing I was looking for, like the Japanese mascot thing. Like, you know that like the black bear with the big rosy cheeks. That like comic-y bear. I'll send you-
Domokon?
No, not Domokun.
Yeah.
Kumamon. Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like if you open that link, he's like the second from the top. He is. He represents the Kumamoto Prefecture in southern Japan. So they actually like promote local like local endeavors, local developments and stuff like that. And like since then, so many of Japan's like everything in Japan is like a freaking has a mascot these days.
But I mean, if you look at this website on Japanese web mascots, one of the things that they do mention is that it's not necessarily always for monetary gain. It's not to like market for anything. It's just they want a mascot for it.
For people to be able to relate to stuff, like things that are going on in real life around them, kind of thing.
They're just there to brighten up people's days, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's more about like your community happiness more than it is. Yeah.
And to politely inform them of the new on-ramp that is being built, like south of the city.
Yeah.
Or
whatever.
don't get AIDS.
Or that.
Yeah. Whatever tickles your fancy. There's the cool cats as well, which are very creepy. That's also a South African production. It's scary as all
Oh,
hell.
is that where those came from?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Isn't that? Are you thinking about that one guy who, like, sued for libel on YouTube because someone made a video? Someone made a video dissing that one movie that he made. Like Cool Cats.
I
The Orange
think so.
Cat?
I don't-
Yeah, that one. I don't think it's the same one though.
This I know that we're talking about mascots for some reason. How did we get onto this? Oh yeah.
Oh well, I was
it's-
talking about it. We're doing research for an upcoming video series all about the history of fursuiting, and obviously
Yeah.
mascot plays an important role there.
Yeah.
This is for me one of the best South African mascots that we have.
Nice, yeah, he's got
Oh.
a good facial expression.
Yeah, the Cheetahs rugby team.
Yeah.
Like
It's really good.
our rugby teams are just like littered with animal references, so it's rife for mascots. I mean, there's the lions, the cheetahs, the blue bulls. Who else?
The sharks,
The sharks.
the leopards,
Yeah.
the
Wasn't there
northern Transvaal, the falcons as well,
Yeah.
the
Cape
border
Cobras.
bulldogs. Yeah, Cape Cobras, but
Why
I don't necessarily do they have a mascot?
Why don't they have a mascot?
It'd be difficult to make it. I know that they've made a shark, which is fine, but like I don't know. It's probably because they don't necessarily have a large amount of money, even though they are a franchise cricket team nowadays. But again, like we're obviously losing a large amount of our like South African players to overseas ventures. Um, I'm still waiting for the day that we're going to play against a majority South African team.
Like from
Uh,
overseas.
from England, because England seems to buy them up like this.
England and
It's
France.
insanity. And sometimes Australia.
For real. Like they don't have
Yeah.
enough homegrown fucking steroid jockeys there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh
We're
look,
more
you're good.
steroid than men now.
Yeah.
You're more muscle than skin.
Good.
Don't know what the hell. Yeah. I still want to see a full-on mascot rugby game.
That might be difficult.
Mm.
That might be tricky in many ways.
Yeah. Bokkel v the Cheetahs.
Oh,
I think the Cheetahs mascot will win because I don't necessarily think that Bokkel has a lot to see.
Oh, you know what? For some reason, I don't know why you're mentioning like mascots and versus. For some reason, MXC popped into my head.
Yes.
I still love that show, even though it's like the dumbest thing ever.
Mm. I'm gonna put this out there, but I think Turks actually stole Bokkel.
How so? I mean, they stole Pokel.
They stole the idea. I don't know if it's. I'm assuming it's supposed to be a squirrel, but I've never actually seen any squirrels up this side, like Tux way, like
Is
Pretoria
that
ways.
not something else?
No, that isn't Bokkel. That is.
No, I mean, like, isn't it a not squirrel?
What would it be then?
I don't know.
A dingo?
I don't know. You don't have dingoes up there, do you? No, there are children
I
from
don't.
there, so.
We have jackals. We have jackals up here.
Yeah, that you do.
Mm. We're actually very close to a nature reserve, like just outside, and on like clear nights you can actually hear the jackals like making lots and lots of noise.
Baying, I believe, is the term.
Baying would possibly be the term. That or just, I don't know, raucous amounts of other things. The Pumas do have a mascot.
Is this the Pumas?
That's a great one.
That one's scary.
That's them some pink socks.
Yeah.
Like post that in
They,
chat. Them is some pink socks.
Yeah. That is insane.
One of our
Okay.
early merchandise ideas that me and Underbite had was the Toronto Blue Jays, which is our baseball team mascot, making out with the Toronto Raptors, the baseball team mascot. But we decided to not do that because professional sports leagues take their copyright incredibly seriously, and even if we don't hint that this Raptor and Blue Jay are at all associated with the sports teams, like it's still playing with fire. So yeah, we decided to not do that. We should have had that posted somewhere.
You
I
could.
have it like.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I have it like framed above my desk, so I can look at it now. But like, it doesn't really help you guys. I wonder if I have a digital version of it somewhere.
You actually made the picture, but you didn't make it live. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was just more for fun. It was my birthday gift last year from Underbite.
Okay.
You
Definitely want to see that.
You could always
Oh, shit. I
attempt to
don't
do
have
something like that in like IRL to promote, like same-sex marriage or like.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like taking these really jockish sports and then making it very gay and just sort of like giving it some sports motifs around the image itself, like Toronto sports team or LGBT sports or something. Ultimately, we just decided it wouldn't sell too well.
Yeah.
And, like, the designs we ended up with are much more general furry. They can sell it outside of Toronto. They're like subtly furry too. We didn't want to make anything that like you would feel uncomfortable wearing out in public. Because I've been to a lot of conventions here in my own part of the world where the convention T-shirt is just this like really slutty like wolf guy And like, I'm not going to wear that anywhere. Why are you selling this as a T-shirt? Like,
Yeah.
that's what happens when your guest of honor is a porn artist,
Lucky.
and not a graphic designer. And that's why I appreciate Underbite's. Underbite has experience in graphic design, which is completely separate from his illustration experience. So, yeah, completely separate beasts. In short, when you run a con, don't let your porn artist guest of honor make your T-shirts, because then you end up with a T-shirt with a slutty wolf on it. That no one's going to wear other than maybe on laundry day.
Yeah.
Whereas a night
Now
shirt.
I'm going to bring up a person's name now, and I'm hoping that a lot of people in this or know who he is by now. But Milo Yiannopoulos,
Oh, that ass hat. Yeah.
yeah, and his fursona.
He has one.
Yeah, Milo Yiannopoulos is a fursona.
Okay.
I
Do
don't
you
know
guys
who this
not?
person
Do
is, no.
okay, Milo Yiannopoulos is like one of the leaders of the alt-right movement
no.
in America. He was very, very vocal during Gamergate, for instance, and
Sure.
that kind of stuff. And he, like, literally, he to the point of death almost, defended the idea of Donald Trump being president, for instance. And somebody actually drew a very not safe for work piece. I think within 2 days of Milo Yiannopoulos showing off his persona, it was a cheetah apparently, being
Yeah, Google image search isn't bringing me up anything. I got this like snow leopard, but it looks pretty gay.
yeah, snow
so.
leopard. Sorry, yeah.
Okay. Gamergate. Okay, I found his Wikipedia page. Now I know how to spell his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of this sudden spark of fascism and the far right is pretty terrifying. Gotta say. So I've been looking at ways I can like combat through culturally effed, and I've been doing some research on like World War II propaganda, where we had Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny punching Nazis in the face. I've also been looking at like maybe doing a review of the book Maus by Art Spiegelman, which is the true story of his grandfather surviving the Holocaust.
I still want to read that. Like that would be the best birthday present for me.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a great book. It is about the Holocaust, so it's not a very sunny book.
It's not lighthearted.
But it's really yeah, it's not lighthearted at all. It's about the fucking Holocaust, and they don't pull their punches at all. And I had a third idea. Oh yeah, just like talking about Nazi furs, which is somehow a thing.
Yeah, of course it's a thing.
Yeah, I know. I like it's a thing now, especially with the alt right and stuff going on. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of ways that I can protest through my own.
Shit's weird right now.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's
really
very, very
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Shit is very weird right now. Anyway, I found this guy's persona, and it's Nazis are fairly distasteful, and in short, my official stance is that it's okay to punch Nazis in the face. Historically, they do not respond to debate or discussion or peaceful protest, but they do seem to respond fairly well when punched in the mouth. So,
Pain is an excellent
I'm
teacher.
all for nonviolence. Yeah, I'm all for nonviolence, but like these are fucking Nazis.
Yeah.
Like, we can't put up with this shit, or they're gonna steal our rights and put us in fucking camps.
Yeah.
Like, it's not okay. It's not tolerate it. Punch Nazis. If you can, do it safely.
Do it safe.
So that they get the fucking message that what they're doing is not okay.
Yeah.
And I know I might get some flack for that, whatever, because people are like, oh, violence is never the answer, and I would usually agree. Violence is very bad. It should be avoided wherever possible. But yeah, Nazis don't care.
Yeah, like that. Like
They're Nazis. If Spielberg has taught us one thing, it's always okay to kill Nazis.
Punch a Nazi.
Yeah,
Punch Nazis.
PG-13 movies from the 90s through the 2000s, violence is always abhorred unless it's against a Nazi. Indiana Jones and all them, they punching
This-
and murdering Nazis left and right. Like all these video games from the past 30 years are all about shooting Nazis en masse. I don't know why it's such a big deal now. Why we can't punch Nazis in person when everything in our media is telling us otherwise.
Just so we all know that like Nazis aren't necessarily just German people either.
Yeah.
Considering that we're talking to a very German crowd at this point.
I did forget that, but hopefully most of them will agree with me. And anyway, as for like Nazi furs, I get that there is this fetish with BDSM. It's a power dynamic. Someone dresses up as a Nazi and like they spank you or whatever. Like that's a thing. Lots of people from all different backgrounds do, and they've been doing it for decades. Although it's like that's its own thing, and of course there's going to be the Venn diagram furry that goes over that. Just last night, I was at a friend's house, and he pulls up this huge stack of comics from the '90s that are all furry. Comics called Furlough. He had some Albedos in there. Lots of these really ancient zines from the dawn of furry. And two of them, which were on furlough, and a furlough was apparently very military, like all of the comics that took place in it were all very military based. And I took a picture with my phone of, these two very Nazi covers that had this slick silver fox wearing full Nazi regalia, swastikas in the background, clearly 1930s Germany. But like you flip it open and it's like a science fiction story inside that has absolutely nothing to do with that. So I would like question like, what were these guys thinking back in 1991 when this comic was published for the 60 furries who subscribed to it? What were they thinking? Like it's fascinating, and like I don't hold that against anyone if that's what they're into. But just right now with today's political climate, maybe don't wear those armbands. It's probably not in good taste.
Yeah, no. Fascism is never in style.
Yeah. So, yeah, like the fetish BDSM thing is a thing that exists, and there's always room for that. But right now, maybe don't wear it to the Pride Parade. Probably going to get booed and thrown and like hissed at.
Yeah. At the very
or
least.
considered a troll.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm relatively surprised by now. I mean, we're talking about the alt-right, possibly Nazism and things like that. But if you really, really think about it, the people that are getting the worst kind of press, and it's probably because of the way that they react, are pretty much liberals.
Right.
Liberals get bad press everywhere because maybe it's probably because they punch Nazis or affect to try to punch Nazis every single time.
There's really, in reality, what's happened is one Nazi has been punched twice on live TV.
On the same day.
As I understand. Yeah, like, that's what I understand is the hubbub. I think his name is Richard Spencer. I'd rather not give him more press than he needs. Because if anything, this has just been giving him more press and more attention, which is might have the opposite effect of what people want. And I think that's what started a lot of this talk. But like the white supremacy movement in the U.S. And even here in Canada, we had a mass shooter kill 6 Muslim people in their mosque just last week. He is a white supremacist. He wants the Muslims out of our country. So it's Canada isn't immune to this either. It's very frightening and has me in a bit of a panic, giving me lots of anxiety. So yeah, this is kind of a real threat that has been emboldened by the election of Trump, who's behaving rather a lot like a dictator.
Or just a dick, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it gives me a lot of anxiety and it makes me really nervous for the future of the whole continent, like let alone the U.S. Like this stuff is spilling over.
Yep.
Makes me want to move to the democratic utopia of Germany. It's one of the more freer states these days.
They have their own utopia now?
Sure, well, comparatively.
She's...
Sorta.
You say fine job. Is she, though? A lot of people seem to not like how she's handling the country at present.
Who? The leader of Germany.
Merkel.
Angela
Yeah.
Merkel.
Well, I mean, people are never really satisfied with their leaders.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hashtag thanks Obama, apparently. As well.
we talked to to some, not Barbara, fuck, who am I talking to? I talked to some of the German people, German listeners, and some of the staff on Furry FM, and I think the consensus was something along the lines of like, just there are a lot of refugees and a lot of people don't really know what to do about it. Not like throw them out kind of thing, just like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many of them going around. It's affecting like day-to-day stuff. So yeah, like I
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
know.
there's more refugees now than there has been since World War II.
Mm.
Like, there's so many displaced peoples, they can't go back. There's nowhere to go back to because it's all been bombed.
Mm.
And yeah, these people have nowhere else to go, and they can't go back because there's nowhere to go back to. And like, yeah, I'm grateful for my current government that is very open-armed and welcoming all sorts of refugees and helping people who were affected by Trump's temporary, it seems, immigration ban.
Mm.
And I remember last time we were talking, this came up as well, and we were talking about how Germany was taking in a lot of refugees, and I thought it was awesome. I think Germany and Canada and whoever else is taking on a lot of refugees are going to do better in the long run because you have this big influx of people who are already educated. They're not going to steal jobs. They're going to create their own jobs. It's usually how it goes.
Mm.
And really, most people who are against this are just xenophobic, and that's what happened with Brexit. That Brexit was largely caused by xenophobes who were like, I don't like people speaking Polish on the subway. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, there's more benefits than loss. Like, you're not losing cultural identity. You're like, cultural exchange is better for your economy than like cultural segregation.
Mm. Like all the research.
Yeah.
So
All the research
enjoy
points
the new
to-
shawarma shops, Germany.
Yeah. All the research points to that, like that kind of cultural, um, not cultural assimilation, but
Growth.
like yeah, cultural cross-pollination and like, stuff like that, and especially the sort of migrant workers or refugee workers, that eventually become citizens and stuff like that. Like all the research shows that that is more beneficial for the country than anything else. Like much
Yeah,
more
because what
beneficial.
happens when they have a successful business is they start to pay taxes, and
Heaven
that's
forbid.
for everyone's benefit. Yeah, and whereas if you keep shitting on them and treating them like second-class citizens, and then they become dependent on the state, and then you actually have an economic problem.
Mm-hmm.
But if you welcome them and treat them as humans and give them a chance to get their lives back together, then your country will overall just gain more better citizens. Even if they don't have the same skin color or religion as your older native citizens. I don't know what we're getting at. We're getting kind of political.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, but I mean, this seems to happen.
yeah, it does.
But in that same sense, like I mean, it's the reason why we got to here is specifically because we do or have spoken about people who now have, you know, personas that are part of this alt right movement, and the thing is that
we've seen it coming too. I remember last year there was a lot of hubbub about the southern U.S. flag.
Yeah, the guy with the Confederate flag. in the desert.
Yeah, he has a whole fursuit that is a Confederate flag. That's right. There's a lot of hubbub about that, and now there's all these Nazi furs, alt-right furs coming out because furry is not limited by any race, gender, or political affiliation. It's just this cool fandom if you like the aesthetic of half human, half animal people. Then guess what? You're a furry, and it doesn't matter if you are in the far right or the far left or, God forbid, somewhere in the middle. It's a space for everyone, and that includes them. But unfortunately for them, it's a very queer space. There's a lot of queer people in furry. It's predominantly queer people, in fact. So these alt-right furries are the minority.
Can you imagine like
so
some?
hopefully, yeah.
Can you imagine some like alt-right or like hyper right-wing group of furs start bitching about like make furry straight again or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, straight
Can you
again.
imagine
Seriously.
Can you imagine how quickly that will be squelched?
Yeah, that reminds me of the Burned Furs movement, which
Oh, right.
the podcasters Feral Attraction talked about a bit on my show a while back. I can throw a link in the chat about
Oh,
for
yes,
that
please.
video. So the Burned Furs were the reaction, the backlash against furry becoming like hypersexual, and then the CSI episode and the Vanity Fair article came out in the early 2000s, which made furry look really bad overall. Like this huge, looked like the whole fandom was just about sexual deviancy. So the bird fur movement was very much about taking furry back to a more respectable place, more just about artwork and comics. But it was run by people who were pretty much just homophobic and just wanted it to get a lot less gay, and really, like, their motives, like, I can understand where they're coming from. Like, they saw what was happening to their fandom and that it was being exploited by the media a lot more. And the stereotype was building that furries are into weird sex stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like, that's
sort of
then
noble
so
cause
the burned
hijacked
furs.
by, yeah.
Yeah, so the burned furs movements lasted like 2 years and was mostly criticized as just being a bunch of jerks who were trying to police everyone to try and like clean up furry. So it wouldn't surprise me if something like that happens again in the near future with a similar mind. Where there might be like make furry straight again. It wouldn't surprise me the least. It's been about over 10 years since the burned furs, so we're due for another group like that to try and fix furry, even though our media exposure has never been more positive than it is right now.
Damn.
Yeah.
As evidenced by Abergwine's channel, Furries in the Media. You can look that up on YouTube. Maybe I'll post a link in the chat. Even she's noticing like the media coverage of furry is way more positive than it used to. It's way more neutral and fact-based. There was a really cool article posted on, I think, Flavra, maybe, about these two articles that came out. One was about alt-right furry, and the other one was about Kiel Gold's new book, which is about a gay Muslim leopard.
Right, that was a very, like, I know that's been getting a lot of attention recently.
But the point of the article was that both of those articles, both the one on the alt-right and the one on Kiel Gold's book, didn't have to explain what furry was. It assumed that its readers, for both of these separate publications, both of them assumed their readers already knew what furry was. And that is a huge step. Like,
yeah, there was no hand-holding
where you can talk about it.
That.
Yeah, I mean, there might have been like a paragraph of like, oh, furries are fans of anthropomorphic animals because that's like a news blog.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't this huge, long, drawn out like, oh, well, furry is X, Y, and Z, and this is this furry who's been in the fandom for this many years, and they have what's called a fursuit. Like, there was no hand holding. There was no like bare bones explanation of what furry is. It's just these are what furries are doing on two extremes. On the one, you have this new book out on a gay Muslim like story, and on the other hand, you have these alt-right furs who are in upheaval that people are getting mad that they're wearing their fucking armbands at cons, which of course they should be, with the current, as we were talking about, with the current political like field. Like, yeah, it's maybe not a good idea to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you're going to get criticized because this largely queer community is not going to like it.
Yep.
Anyway.
I think on that bombshell.
Yes, but I mean, like, the thing is, it's always good talking to you. By the way, it's this was actually very engaging. I quite enjoyed the conversation.
No, same.
Great. I hope it didn't get too heavy. I mean, my mind,
No.
like I said, I've been super distracted and depressed from the news, and I'm sure a lot of people are. I've had to turn off my Twitter and Facebook for a week. I might have to do it again, and it's really just dominating my conversations. And I'm sorry, but that's just how it goes.
No, like, remember, I mean, like, for us, the space of south-afrifur as the podcast, is always just sort of like snowball into whatever idea or story that the guest has in mind.
Mm.
It's I think I'm not necessarily sure whether we could say it's one of our goals. Yeah, it is probably one of our goals. But I mean, it's just that's kind of how we feel strong about it.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm.
yeah, we're here to engage in sort of conversation, whether it's like something related to furry or whatever spins off of that. But anything we can do to help sort of educate and entertain at the same time, I mean, that's all well and good. Because I know, and again, like we want other people's.
That's what Culturally Left is all about.
Yeah, we also
Culturally
want
Left is all about entertaining and educating.
yeah, and we also want like perspective from other sides as well, like north of the border, south of the border, Europe, Asia, South Africa, wherever we can get it.
Mm. No, it's true.
But yeah.
It's so weird. Any case, but yeah, we'll definitely have you on here again.
Coats.
Anytime, guys. I'm happy to come on. It's always very fun talking to you guys and seeing what's going on outside of the North American furry community. Because this is a worldwide movement we're all part of, right? Like, gotta act like it.
Yeah. If you don't mind, could you just link to some of those more recent videos that you were mentioning, like that one, the review on the two, like the alt-right and the gay Muslim furry books? Like
That wasn't. Let me see if I can
it-
dig it up. It was an article. It wasn't
Okay.
a.
Okay. Well, in your own
And
time.
it was maybe on. Sure. No, it wasn't that one.
Cool.
Yeah, here it is. Editorial, Furry Our Deliverance or Our Destruction. And there's a video included by Rue View. I'll post that here in the Skype, and I'll post that here in the Furry FM chat.
Cool.
And yeah, that was basically the summary of that article is that the media is getting to the point where they don't need to keep re-explaining furries, that furries are so common that you can have an article about furries and assume your readership knows what you're talking about, and that's a huge, big step.
All right, sweet.
Enjoy that article, guys.
Will do.
Cool.
And so I've been Arrkay. Please go to my YouTube show, Culturally Effed. It's F''D. YouTube.com/culturallyeft or culturallyeft.com is my store, and there's links to my YouTube channel and my Patreon and newsletter on my website as well. So make sure everyone subscribes, because every subscriber counts towards the 10,000 mark, where I can use YouTube Studio for free.
Plug.
Yeah.
Cool.
Check out some merch. I'll be sending you guys a big box in the mail soon. I hope you get super excited when we open that up. There'll be some other goodies in there besides T-shirts, but I'm not going to tell you what those will be. And those will be yours to do with what you want. If you want to hand them out at events, or if you want to give them away off of your show, once it's yours, it's yours. You can do with it what you will. If you just want to hoard it all for yourselves, then you can do that too.
I'm a compulsive hoarder.
You should see my fucking shelf right now that I'm looking at. I had to brace it. But yeah. Ivik, you want to do the greets?
Yeah, so we have a couple of people here. There's that thing that's been placed on there. Whoop-de-doo, whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, so for those of you listening or in the chat on furry.fm, we have Dustporky, we have Brastos, Flo, Game Jack, the Old Wolf RSA is listening to us again, Arrkay obviously as well. Guest 422, guest 492 from London, guest 539 from Munich, and 422 is from Berlin. I'm not going to say where the rest of these people are from, but it's all here on the chat, so we all know where you are, and we know where you live, and we'll find you.
Yeah, I don't know why mine thinks I'm in London, Canada.
Yeah, you're
I'm in
apparently
Toronto.
London, Canada.
Our internet service provider is based out of London, Canada, so
Okay.
probably why it's giving that strange location. I'm actually in Toronto.
And then on the first stream side, we only have Brastos at this point that's speaking from there, but I think a lot more people that are from South Africa, as far as I know, go to free.fm anyway, because the bandwidth is a lot lower here than it is on first stream because of the whole video thing, but that's absolutely fine. We stream from there anyway because, I mean, they offer a very, very good service. Like, I'm not sure if they're still taking donations actually for a stream,
Yeah, regardless.
but
Yeah, 3
yeah,
Patreons.
like
Furry FM has a Patreon.
support them.
First Stream has a Patreon, and I believe you guys also have a Patreon, right, Arrkay?
Yeah, we do. It's same thing, Culturally F. You can find the links everywhere. You can't get Rusty to shut up about it every F update. I'm looking to like rewrite it because it's been over a year, and obviously our goals have changed since then. And we've already met some of our because we got outside funding, we already met some of our other goals. So I've been meaning to like completely revamp my Patreon page, but it's there. We got some fun rewards. We have a fan transformation reward, which we finally just delivered on for one of our patrons, where we turn their persona into a fan. And that makes them fans of Rusty and fans of Culturally F, and they help us keep us cool in the studio.
Sweet.
That's our $5 reward.
Awesome.
All
right.
This is interesting.
What?
I'm looking at. I actually found the original post, the Fur Affinity post for Milo Yiannopoulos' persona.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh?
Let's leave it at that. Let's not get. I think we've already dug too far into politics.
Yeah. I'm just putting it here if you guys are interested. That's interesting. Very interesting. They're the people who did it.
Okay.
For Affinity page. Any case, so I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evenings, you and Scratch. Obviously, for those of you who are going to be hanging around on Furry.fm, I'm going to do an hour set of music. Not going to go on too long. I have work in the morning, and I do kind of want to be there early because I don't necessarily know what time I'm going to start teaching tomorrow because that hasn't been updated yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So just an hour. I'm not going to stay up too late. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But yeah, so take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you two have a good day further.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll see you guys again next week. Keep an eye on Twitter. Keep an eye on Facebook. Keep an eye on Tumblr. Keep an eye on the Furry.fm main page to see who our next guest will be. And we'll update throughout the week for you guys to let you guys know who we're going to have then. All right.
Sweet.
So, yeah, we're going to see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.